Hey everybody, Jem Schofield here with the C47 and another episode of Gearbox. Okay, so for about 3.5 years, I did episodes of this 5 days a week. A few episodes here and there missing, family things going on, occasionally on vacation, sometimes wiped out with the flu or something like that. But overall, pretty consistently for about 3.5 years. And then at the end of last year, coming into this year, 2013, I decided that it was time to take a break from that. Built the studio space where the C100 videos were shot, and also just started to work stuff out. You've got to kind of, every once in a while, reboot in terms of what you're doing. And recently I realized that I want to continue to do Gearbox. I want to do it consistently, but I just don't want to do it 5 days a week because I have other things that I want to create in terms of content. There's more live learning stuff that I want to do, and so all of that stuff is important and kind of part of that reboot. Now, recently, and this is what I'm going to talk to you guys about mostly today, I sold my FS700. I originally got the camera system in September of last year. I was going to Italy and I was asked to shoot for another company, so I wasn't producing this project, and we ran around for 10 days in Italy shooting a whole bunch of stuff in some pretty amazing places, limited to our production and certain situations, access to places within the Vatican Museum. So we went into some places that I've never seen, and I've been to the Vatican Museum now 3 or 4 times. So that was pretty amazing. We had, I think our only permit that actually panned out was for the Duomo in Florence, and we were actually shooting with a bunch of equipment inside of there, and it was pretty cool. And then Mount Vesuvius, Pompeii, around Tuscany, and so a pretty amazing experience. And of course, in other places in Rome, like the Colosseum. And so, so I needed that camera system for that job. And the reason I needed it was there were a lot of other cameras that I could have used, and in fact, we wound up bringing 2 cameras with us to do the project. But I really needed a camera that was a great all-around camera system, and at that time the FS700 fit the bill for what I was trying to do. We wanted to make sure that we had built-in NDs. We wanted to make sure that obviously it was a fully manual camera system. I wanted to make sure that I could use all of my Canon glass, so the Metabones version 2 adapter answered that. I needed to have redundant recording, and even though it doesn't have dual card slots, there's only one SD card slot, there is a unit that you can slap onto the side of that called the FMU 128, which is a 128 gig basically drive that you can use. And so it was a great fit. And of course, 2 other things in the camera system which were really the selling points for me were the fact that you could shoot high speed up to 240 frames per second at full 1080. P, so full HD, and a really fantastic, and this is really where, in a lot of ways, for me, Sony excels, a really fantastic autofocus system, tracking focus system when you're using Sony glass. So, so that was the camera system that I bought and put together an entire kit around that, extra batteries, the FMU unit, and a bunch of stuff, plane going overhead. I'm part of the Newark pattern. And there you go. Now, I had been using the C300 in a lot of production, but the selling points, again, autofocus functionality for run and gun situations and the overcranking, and that was sort of the selling point on the FS700. Fast forward to this year, and earlier this year I purchased my first C100. I got it around the same time that I did the C100 videos for Canon, but at the time when I bought it, there was no rebate, so it was the full $6,500 for the body only. And I do buy all my cameras, so it was no different for me than for anybody else. But starting to do more and more two camera stuff. I do one camera shoots, but I am finding that a lot more of what I'm doing is A and B camera for interviews and for some narrative stuff. And so, so I really had to do some soul searching and figure out what the best thing would be for me to do. Would it be better for me to let go of the C100 and get a second FS700, or would it be better for me, lots of birds out here today, it's summer, to get a second C100, which is in fact what I did. So I sold the FS700 and I let it go, and somewhat regretfully, because I really would have liked to hold on to it, but I, like many of you guys out there, have a family and bills to pay and all that kind of stuff, and I could not afford to keep that camera system and go into a second C100. But I really wanted to have matching cameras. I really liked and do like wide DR as far as a custom picture. I do like Canon log. Of course, now with the FS700, there's a firmware update, so you can get S-Log 2. You can also get this expanded Rec 709 800% dynamic range. So there's some really nice stuff in terms of the picture profiles for that camera system. And of course, with that firmware update, for $400, you get 4K output. Well, those weren't the things that I needed, and I think that it speaks to you having to figure out what kind of camera system you need to get for the type of production or productions that you're going to be doing. A student of mine that's been in a couple of my workshops asked me for some advice on some camera systems recently. Definitely wanted to go into a compact cinema camera as opposed to a DSLR, and it really seemed like, after talking to him at length, that the better camera system for him would be an FS700. Not sure if he's going to go with that, but you know, ergonomics aside, it was giving him a lot more options in terms of the types of things that he was planning to do and already does. For instance, if my bread and butter was shooting music videos and commercial style work and things like that, then the FS700 would in many ways be a better camera system. For me personally, there it is, for me personally, the C100 fit because of its ergonomics, its form factor, the fact that with the grip unit, there he is, I'll be right there, that you can get to all of the basic functions of the camera system from that grip unit. Joystick, a little dial, that's aperture, that's white balance, that's shutter speed, you know, that's all of the key functionality that you'd want to get to into the camera system. Just with that one grip unit. So I really, really like that type of functionality in the camera system. I mean, you can see here, this is sort of the built-out version of this. I have the new petrol little LCD shade. I'll be right there, buddy. Just give me a second. I'm doing an episode of Gearbox. I'll be right there. Apparently fixing something for London is more important than my episode of Gearbox. But let me just finish this. So we got the Petrol PA 1018. This is a shade, a two-part shade that's built specifically for the C100. So I have that on here to minimize glare. I've got the little DP4 eyepiece here, which I built up with some Velcro, industrial Velcro. Use the soft side of it and just built it up underneath here over the eyepiece so that I can use that in really bad sunlit situations. Now the wind's picking up. It's just like real production here. And we've got obviously dual card slots in here, so I can do double slot recording. This is a Tokina 11-16. I've got this on the Manfrotto 500 head, and this happens to be the Pocket Jib Traveler, which I'm trying out. I'm actually going upstate tomorrow to do some shooting for some camera movement stuff that I'm trying to do. And I think overall, you know, a good setup when using this camera system. So so that's it. I think that the main thing is when you're looking into a camera system, I'm talking to the camera because I'm doing Gearbox. Give me, count to 30 and then I'll be done, but count quietly. And then I'll be ready to help you. Okay, so I think we're done. I think it's all over here. The dogs are barking. My son is yelling. It's Sunday. I'm going to end off, but you guys get the basic idea. If you guys have questions about, you know, you thinking about a camera system and what's right for you, I'm not going to tell you to buy a Canon camera. I'm going to talk to you about what kinds of work you're going to be doing and what you're trying to accomplish, and try to make a recommendation that's best for what you're doing. I think that's it. Oh, now it's all quiet. And I'll see you guys next time on Gearbox.